because our another two articles determining both BUS and string square mass, using an update in experimental data that included the OPL data, and also doing some improvements like better description of the scalar and pseudo-scalar correlators, etc. And those are the numbers that we get. So one important event in that first year that I was Ximo students was the Eurodafne collaboration meeting that was held in Granada in 2000. Was sort of important for me because it was my first international conference, the first one I attended in physics. But the most important thing is that was the place and the time where Ximo met Blanca for the first time. And for some unusual circumstances, Blanca, who is a physicist too, she was acting as a secretary in that conference. And since the very beginning when they met, it was very clear that there was some connection, some chemistry there. We had a conference dinner on the 11th of February, and after that conference dinner, most of the people in the dinner we walked to the Mirador de San Nicolás. This is a square in the neighborhood of Albaicin with great views of the Alhambra, and we were there for a while, night. And then we started to walk down to the city, walking back to the city, and some way people started to take different paths. So when we arrived to the Arco de Elvira, down, just for the people who is not from Granada, nothing to be with me. Just Elvira is a very, it's a very. Yes, yes. So it's a very traditional name in Granada. And we had the Arco de Elvira, and we have Elvira Street. So when we arrived there were only 4 people left in the group. That was Blanca, Ximo, Gilberto Colangelo, and myself. And then we decided that was not too late in the night, so we went for drinks and dancing, and we were there until 4 a.m. And next day, we attended the rest of the conference. And at that time, I started to see a different side of Ximo. Until that time, I only had seen like Ximo as a physicist, the advisor, how good he was and how much he knew. And at that time, I started to see he was fun, and he had a great sense of humor, and it was very fun to be with him. And that's another very funny thing we did in 2000. It's a holiday in Granada. It's called Dia de la Cruz, or translated the Cross Day. So the traditional thing to do this day is the 3rd of May. It's building crosses with flowers, and people dance in the street, folkloric traditional dances from the south of Andalusia, in particular what is called Sevillanas. So at that time, there was in the department a Polish student, Paweł Jankowski, who was interested in dancing. So we decided to do some kind of international exchange, dancing exchange, and we met Blanca, Ximo, Paweł, and me. So we met to learn Sevillanas. I was supposed to teach them to dance Sevillanas, and then Paweł was supposed to teach us to dance polka, and Blanca was going to teach us to dance waltz that she learned in Austria. So I think we did a pretty good job, and we were able, after 2 or 3 meetings, to go out the Dia de la Cruz and dance Sevillanas. So. Okay, my second project with Ximo was something we did with Hans, that he already talked about it, was this calculation of the electroweak penguins operators. And at that time, I think Ximo had very clear what I should work on in order to have some defined topic for my thesis. So I stepped into CP violation into count physics. That was my thesis topic. And, Hans already talked a little bit about this. We calculated the delta isospin equal to 3/2 contribution to epsilon prime k, the parameter that describes the direct CP violation. And, this can be at leading order and with in the isospin limit and disregarding alpha electromagnetic square corrections. This contribution is given by some known for time, this coupling that appears in the chiral perturbation Lagrangian at order A squared P0. And this coupling in the standard model is given by the matrix element of this electroweak Penguin's operator Q7 and Q8. So I'm not going to give many details about this. We did a prediction for this coupling. Another important result that we had in that paper is the dimension 6 and 8 contributions to the operator product expansion of the correlator with the structure vector minus axial. And this plot, I stole it from the paper of Ximo, Tony, and Martin of last year. This is the prediction we did in 2001. This is the prediction for the same contributions, the same operators that Ximo did with Tony and Martin. This project was also important for me because it was the topic of my first talk in an international conference in QCD 2002. And I was pretty worried about this talk because it was my first talk, and also because the results at that time was sort of controversial. So I was worried about it. And Ximo helped me a lot with it. He didn't tell me what I should say in the talk, but he listened to me and he listened to what I wanted to say, and he gave me the confidence that I could do this. In fact, this is something that Ximo helped me a lot while I was his student, and after it, he had a lot of confidence on me and on what I could do and what I could achieve as a physicist, more confident that I have in myself. So, and this is something that is, has helped me a lot, and it's something that is completely unparalleled. This is also, Hans talked about this. This is a project that we work a lot on with Hans, the development of a new approximation for the calculation of hadronic quantities. Well, Hans talked about this, so I'm not going to repeat. We did some predictions. We calculated full 3-point functions in the chiral limit with different pseudoscalar, scalar, vectors, etc. And we did a comparison with experiment for some low energy constant that worked pretty well. Also, Ximo was also always worried and thinking about what I needed to do in order to be successful as a physicist in my career. For example, he was sure that I work with very good people like Hans and Tony, so they can write reference letter for me, and I had these very good collaborators, that I work in the right projects, that I did everything I needed to do, like stays in other institutions. In particular, I had the opportunity working in these two projects that I have just mentioned. I had the opportunity to go to visit Lund in 2001 and in 2002. And also, again, in 2002 and in 2005, I was there with Ximo. I was overlapped with Ximo. And it was a great time. All the time we spent together during lunch and dinner and in the office, talking about these projects, discussing things, sometimes arguing a little bit, and also the time we spent not only in physics, but in some other things. From the first stage in which we overlapped is we were working in this ladder summation approximation, and in this second short stay, we work on the determination of BK in the chiral limit that also Hans mentioned before. Also, whenever I went to some place where Ximo had been before, he always was recommending me which places I should visit and which things I could do in order to have fun too. For example, he recommended me to go to this Louisiana Museum in Denmark. At some point, the way we were working together were evolving a little bit, so he was not as much my advisor and I his student, but we started to work a little bit more like collaborators. For example, in this project with Ignacio Ximemi, in which we calculated the charge K to 3 pi CP violating asymmetries at net to leading order in current perturbation theory. You can define these asymmetries in the decay width and these asymmetries in the slope, where the slope is defined when you expand the amplitude square as a power of the Dalitz plot variables, x and y. At that time, the results for these asymmetries in the literature were conflicting, so it was something pretty interesting to work on. So we did the first full next to leading order analytical calculation in current perturbation theory for these asymmetries, including the electroweak of the corrections and next to leading order that correspond to this order, and also the dominant final state interaction and next to leading order. And numerically, this is the numbers we got for the